Welcome to Keystone Aligned Life, where we explore how the choices we make about our homes, our mindset, and our daily lives can move us closer to a life we truly love. You don't know who I am? I'm Elise Natoli. I'm a Florida Realtor, a Florida educator, and a life coach, and someone who truly believes that every meaningful change begins with one intentional step. Whether you're thinking about buying your first home, or maybe selling the one you've loved for years, moving to Florida, or even simply trying to create a life that feels more aligned with who you're becoming, you're in the right place. Each episode, I'm going to combine practical real estate experience, lessons from life, and simple strategies you can use right now. Because I believe home is more than an address, it's a foundation from which you build your life. So let's dive in. So today, I really want to talk about the lingering question we always have: should I move? I don't know about you guys, but I get to the point where I'm in a place for a certain amount of time and I get that, a little itch to think about, am I really happy here? Do I want to move? I almost compare it to being in a long-term relationship. You hit that 2-year mark and you're like, how do I feel living here? Because as much as we try to do all the research we can and, asking people what they think, what really it comes down to is you actually living there and seeing if it fits you or not. So if you've ever asked yourself, should I move? Which is one of the biggest questions people ask. Here's what I found after years of teaching, coaching, and helping families sell homes, that usually people don't really want a different house. They come to me because they want to live a different life. And that different life can be more peace, more time with their family, a shorter commute, a better school district, maybe a place where they feel like they can just breathe. The house usually isn't the dream, it's the life that is. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about it today, because we as a family have moved 3 times. And all those things I listed are multiple reasons for why we've moved. I think they're actually all pretty accurate. So I want to go over 5 signs why your home might no longer fit the life that you're trying to build. Because as much as we have a 5-year plan, sometimes life changes and that 5-year plan changes. So let's go over sign number 1. You've outgrown your space, or maybe it's outgrown you. Maybe your family has grown, your kids are older. Maybe now your kids are so much older that they've moved out of the house. Maybe now you're working from home. Or maybe you hate spending every single weekend maintaining a home that you no longer want or serves your lifestyle. Sometimes our homes fit who we were when we bought them, not who we are starting to become. So I want you to ask yourself a question, and this is a question you might not have an immediate answer to. Does my home support the life that I want today? Now, if the answer is yes, work on your home, enjoy it. But if the answer is no, that's when you want to start thinking about what your next move is. Okay, so number 2, your daily routine feels harder than it needs to be. You feel like you're doing a little more than you're normally doing. And that could be driving more. Maybe you are not a fan of your commute. Maybe you don't enjoy the traffic around your area. Maybe it's really hard for you to see your family because you're far away from them and just driving to them feels like a chore. But then when you're there, you're not even enjoying yourself because you're thinking about the drive back. Maybe you're not in love with the schools your kids attend. Maybe it's access to shopping or certain activities. These little inconveniences can really become a daily stressor. And I know, as much as you know, and I know, that our biggest push right now from everyone is to be, or have, I should say, less stress. And so having those daily stressors be removed can help you live a better life. And I hate to say it, but small frustrations that you have about where you live, they quietly add up over time. Sign number 3 is you're talking about it. You keep saying someday we'll move. Someday we'll buy that house on the beach. Someday we'll downsize. Someday I'll have that home office. But the someday has a way of becoming years and decades. And I don't want to, discourage you. Waiting isn't always wrong. But waiting because of fear is making the decision for you instead of you making the decision for yourself. All right, sign number four. Your home just doesn't match your goals. Maybe you want to have more of your budget open and you want to invest more of that budget. So you need to find a smaller, more affordable home. Maybe you want to travel and you don't need so many things here that you thought you did. Maybe you are the best host and you just want to host all your family, but you feel like you don't have the space. Maybe you want to start a business and you need that home office and you just don't have the space to have that in the home you are in right now. Maybe you want more backyard space because you want to garden and try new things. Maybe you hate driving your car everywhere and you want to be able to walk to restaurants or walk to a coffee shop and just have that walkable experience. Or maybe you're ready to live near the water. Maybe living near the water has always been the dream and you're ready to go for it now. Sometimes, and I'm going to say sometimes because it's not always, your next chapter requires a different environment. And the last one is you just feel stuck. This is probably the biggest sign that you're ready for that next move in your home or in location. Sometimes it's not even about the house. Sometimes it's just your life. But as a life coach and as an educator and even as a realtor, our environment, and I see this multiple times, influences our energy so much more than we realize. And if you don't believe me, think about the best hotel you've stayed in or the most beautiful home you visited. You can tell your energy is completely different when you're in a space that feels peaceful and you feel luxurious in. Okay. As a teacher, I've seen this as a classroom environment affecting the learning. Your classroom environment has to be molded and made in the beginning of the year for your students to feel comfortable enough to be open and ready and vulnerable to learn sometimes. The same as your environment in your home. It can make a drastic difference in how you carry yourself, what you choose to do with your life. It is huge. So today, especially in real estate, I see how home environment can affect relationships, your stress level, your confidence, and even if you believe your dreams are possible just from the place you live. So, what have I learned through this experience, right? One thing you're going to learn about me through all these episodes is that I love experimenting. I don't just want the answer, I want to understand what it's like to go through the process and understand why it works. Throughout my career, I've tried different teaching methods, different coaching tools, and different approaches to help my buyers and sellers because every transaction truly is different. And every experience I had has taught me something. And here's the lesson that I want to give to you today that keeps showing up, not just once. People rarely regret a thoughtful move. Instead, they regret letting fear stop them from exploring all their options. Notice I didn't say regret waiting. Sometimes waiting is wise, especially if you need more time to mull over a decision. But avoiding the conversation because we're afraid rarely brings us clarity. Where you're going to find clarity is when you're curious. Can you ask the right questions to see the whole picture before you make your decision? I'll give you a great example. Let's say we have first time home buyers and they're renting and they're like, we just can't afford a home. My first question is, have you spoken to a lender? And they look at me like, no, I just can't do it. And I said, how do you know you can't do it? Like, how do we know that? Have you looked at all the options? Have you seen the down payment assistance? Have you really talk to someone who's very knowledgeable and knows what they're talking about and have asked the right questions? And they usually tell me no. So I always say to people, you don't know anything is possible unless you ask about it and ask questions. Always be open to what the different perspectives are or the different options you have because you just never know which one's going to work for you. So let's talk about your next aligned move. Every episode, I want to leave you with something practical. This week, I want you to do three things. First, write down three things you love about your current home. because there's nothing wrong with being grateful for what you have. But second, I want you to write down the things that consistently drain your energy. Maybe for you, it's taking care of your backyard, skimming your pool, whatever that might be, write them down. And then here is the biggest question after you do those two things. If nothing changed over the last 5 years, would I be happy? And I don't want you to answer that too quickly. I want you to let that sit with you because whether your next aligned move is buying a home, selling one, maybe it's just reorganizing your current space or changing something in it, awareness is the first step. So if you can be aware of what's draining your energy, is there a way we can fix that? Or is that going to require a move for me in the next 5 years? So, final thoughts for you today, since I gave you a little bit of information about signs of whether you're ready to move, is that if you're trying to align with the best decision for you, remember there's no perfection in that. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what's the best answer for you. It's about making choices that reflect who you're becoming or who you want to be. And sometimes that can be a big move. Sometimes that means staying exactly where you are. Sometimes it means changing your perspective on where you currently live. And whatever season you're in, I hope this episode and future episodes put you in a place where you feel encouraged and educated and empowered to move forward with your next move with confidence. So, if today's conversation encouraged you, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and to my podcast, which I'll put the link down below. And if you're wondering what your next move looks like, whether it's buying, selling, investing, or simply just exploring your options, I'd be honored to help guide you. And remember, you don't have to have an answer right now, not right at this moment, but I want you to feel encouraged to take the next aligned step, whatever that might be for you. So just remember, what is one aligned move you can make this week to help you get to the person you're becoming? Until next time, keep building a life that feels like home.